hadi ya. industry, but full-time doing this particular job. And it is that process that will drive the evaluation of the many proposals that we have received and we will continue to receive.
Direct answer is 6 to 8 months.
Is there any concern that these players have expressed, because we are hearing that they lack on the IP front and the global majors are not willing to share that this kind of information is coming, if you can throw a light?
Prasun, my recommendation is, especially with our ministry and our government, ignore the rumors. When we have something to say, the ISM will say it. This is a process that has been very clearly laid down, and the process will go through its the steps. So currently, nobody has any particular view on any of those proposals. We welcome all those proposals, because every one proposal that comes in response to a Government of India policy is an act of faith, is showing confidence in what the government is intending to do. So we have, I think all of those characterizations that you have, my suggestion is let's wait for the ISM to evaluate those proposals.
Yeah, Kiran Rathi from Financial Express. So you just mentioned that it will take 5 to 8 months for the companies to be finalized. So just need to understand, like, the minister just said that the government will soon start taking more applications, like more companies can apply for the scheme. So when can we expect that? Either we have to wait for 5 to 8 months, or if more companies want to join, so they can start sending the applications.
So basically there are 3 categories, right? First is the big silicon fab and the display fab. That is one category. Compound semiconductor, ATMP, is the second category, and design is the third category. So the applications in the other 2 categories are already on. It's an ongoing process. More applications are coming. In this first category of the large silicon fab and the display fab, the option for submitting more applications will be opened after this current round is done.
That means after 5 to 8 months.
Yes.
Okay.
Sir, Rajesh here from Wall Street Journal. In your speech, you mentioned something about geopolitics, semiconductor geopolitics. Can you elaborate a bit? Are we harping more on China +1 policy, West being wary of China and other countries of that?
No. I am not referring to any country in particular. I am referring to our ambition and our Honorable Prime Minister's vision that India will be gaining and increasing its market share in the overall GVCs, global GVCs for electronics and semiconductors. And the reason for that is we see ourselves as being a trusted partner for all digital products, services, and talent that the globe and the world requires. So we see our ambition and our goal and our vision of our Honorable Prime Minister is that we must be, India must be, will be, and can be the trusted partner to the world's value chains on all things electronics and all things semiconductors.
Is that India specific? Arun Mampari from Swarajya Mag. So in Ranjit Thakur's presentation, there was a $1 billion innovation fund that was mentioned for startups, which will eventually fab and Intel foundry services. Is that an India specific fund, or is it a global fund extended to India?
I don't know, but let's work together to make it India specific. Even if he has any ideas of going outside, let's just make these startups in India be so exciting that all of that 1 billion is invested in India.
And while you are at it, can we also pull the Vietnam $7 billion, the Malaysia or something $7 billion that was announced and never materialized for packaging also to India? Thank you.
Aapke muh mein ghee shakkar.
So, question to both of you, considering that this event comes in the backdrop of a takeover of Twitter. Twitter has been one of the giant companies across the world. Both of you are active on Twitter as well. How do both of you look at the takeover by Elon Musk? Just 2 days ago, Mr. Gadkari had also made a remark that he's welcome to make the electric vehicles here.
Rohan, iska koi connection hai nahi semiconductor se, unless you have connected it to semiconductors somehow. But look, our response to this is the response to all platforms and intermediaries. There are all laws, there are rules, and those rules, laws, and expectations of the government of India and the consumers of India remain intact regardless of who's the owner, who's not the owner. So, Hamara on this issue is not is totally agnostic on who's the owner.
No, the question was only because since both of you hold the charge which deals with the Twitter.
हाँ तो बोल दिया ना answer.
We are
Jointly
absolutely-
answer बोल दिया.
We are absolutely clear on this. Whether the ownership changes, the law of the land has to be followed by every company.
So this is Sankar from Bloomberg News. You told us yesterday that you all were talking to Intel and Mr. Randeep Thakur was speaking, but he did not, he stopped short of, he said we are committed to India and the growth of the chip market here, but he stopped short of saying that we'll have a foundry here.
I see.
Can you tell us what's the plan for Intel's foundry here? Because you said that they're speaking to you and very serious about it, looking and evaluating at a plant. And you also said that TSMC is still delaying it. Can you tell us why?
Sankalp, yeah, I mean, I know what you're fishing for, but I will refuse to
I'm
be
trying to
baited on
get
that.
you to, I'm trying to get you to.
No, 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 wait, wait, let me respond. I think it is clear, and I think all of us in this room, and indeed every Indian citizen, and indeed all of government can be very safely assuming one basic truth, that the world's leading majors and the ecosystem of semiconductors is actively engaged in exploring the India opportunity. This is just a fact. They may all be at very different stages of their exploration and understanding, and that is each company's velocity and their own pace at how they operate. But I can safely, on behalf of me and Ashwini ji and our team at MeitY, tell you that the interest in India is a very real one. And for the reasons that have been outlined by our Honorable Prime Minister, Ashwini ji, myself, and then all the people who presented, including Sanjay Mehrotra and Randeep Thakur. So unfortunately, today there's no headline saying A company has agreed or B companies have agreed. This is a very, very first big step in the building of this and catalyzing of the Indian semiconductor ecosystem. And as many of us have said, this is a long game. This is about patience. This is about convincing companies who have many, many, many opportunities and alternatives that India is their best opportunity. And so please give us some credit for being dogged and patient and determined about our mission and goals. And that is what we are doing. But I can safely tell you, everybody is interested.
Hi, this is Narayankar from UNI. A very short question. When will India's indigenous 4G mobile network will be rolled out? I heard you saying in Lok Sabha, but it was not specific.
So day before yesterday, the Union Cabinet led by Prime Minister Modi ji approved 2,343 sites for rolling out the first version of the India's indigenous 4G. BSNL will roll it out. The name of the site names have been published. The locations are finalized. Rolling out should start in next few weeks.
Thank you, Minister.
Many Indian companies are definitely looking at technology partners. See, there are three large buckets if you look at it. The silicon fab, the display fab, these are the big ones. In this bucket, people are looking for technology partners, and global majors are also looking for Indian partners. We will not take any names here.
Mr. Vaishnav and Rajiv, Sarita Rai here from Bloomberg. To address a question that everybody here in the room, is probably asking, what is the headline news? You said there is no headline in the question that my colleague asked. So my question is, what is the headline news out of an event like this? What is the headline news out of all that you've been talking so far? Is there anything concrete that you can you can tell us that, that journalists like me would love to.
I'll give you the headline, but I'm not sure you like it. But here, the headline is, Sarita, that the best and brightest minds of the world are today engaged in this conversation about catalyzing India's semiconductor ecosystem. And to, with great respect to the media, I want you to understand that this is not something that happens like that. This is not something, there is no instant gratification in the semiconductor ecosystem. This is about doggedly building the confidence and capabilities that will stand the test of time for the next 25 years. So this is seriously foundational stuff that is going on. If you don't think that there is a headline, you and I will disagree. I believe there is a headline, and the headline is that for the first ever Semicon India conference that India has put together, you have the finest minds of the world coming together and talking, and as you heard in the morning, reinforcing that India's ambition to be a semiconductor nation is a legitimate, valid, and a realistic one. And I think that is the headline.
Hi, Danish from Newsweek. My two questions, one for Ajit and one for Mr. Vaishnav. First one would be, in 2000, China was around seen as 1% of the the global semiconductor producers. By 2020, they arrived at around 15%. By 2030, they're hinting at 24%. Does India have such a goal defined at this juncture? This is for Mr. Vaishnav. And for Rajiv, the question is, what does the current policy in terms of the semiconductor space have in store for Indian startup ecosystem?
We actually have a very good protocol between us. All difficult questions I always put to Rajiv. So both these questions, Rajiv can take.
Danish, let me explain to you in a slightly different manner. We are not in this race with China, because I'll explain to you why. In the ecosystem that we are now looking at, China does not figure that much. This is, if you look at the companies that we are talking to or who are engaged with the government of India and indeed India, these are Intel's, TSMC, you heard Micron, Western Digital, NXP. These are all from Europe, USA, etc., etc. So it's not a China thing at all. So number one. Number two, to give you this market share thing, if you are really interested in this, we are currently 2 to 3% of the global electronics value chain. By 25-26, the Prime Minister's goal and target for us is that we will be closer to 7 to 8%, and then very quickly to 10%. That is the market demand creator for semiconductors. So there's a significant growth in electronics. There is a significant growth in the automotive segment in India, the mobility segment as in communication, and the data-led compute requirements and application processor requirements, because we are going to be a huge data AI economy in terms of our innovation ecosystem. All of this is going to grow the demand for semiconductor. And so therefore, this is not about necessarily saying that we're going to grab something from China or it's a competitive thing from that point of view.
My question was about, are there any set goals?
There are goals which are demand goals. And you saw the number, the Honorable Prime Minister used that number, $80 billion by 2025 is the semiconductor demand for India. 110 billion is by 2030, the semiconductor demand for India. And obviously a silicon fab that is based in India will be catering to that kind of requirement, 110 billion, bases the nodes and the technologies. In terms of startups, look, for everything that we do in METI and in the government of India, startups are a core element of the policy. So here, if you see the semiconductor policy, there is, for the first time, design-linked incentives. This is to have government be able to fund startups with up to $2 million, and if necessary, more, for startups that want to design, develop, and productionize and market chips in a particular area. So there is a tremendous amount of financial support. There's an ecosystem and policy support. And the approach to semiconductor is that Indian semiconductor startups will have a very significant role in the expansion of innovation in this ecosystem.
Hi, Mr.
This is the final question because we have some announcements to make. So hope media friends will understand. Yeah, last question.
So two very easy questions, sir. So at one end, I'm Surabhi from the Economic Times. At one end, we have these 3-4 proposals, and all the applicants seem to be very confident and committed to setting up semiconductor fabs in the country. At the other end, you and Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar are talking about how you're reaching out to other larger companies like Intel, TSMC, Samsung, etc. So one, what is the signal that you're giving to those companies? Is it a mixed signal? Secondly, does India has an appetite to fund more than 2 or semiconductor fabs, because these are very capital intensive ones, right? My other question, second question is, what is the update on the semiconductor policy as far as the other components of the scheme are concerned, minus the fab, the display and the chip fab?
So, see, the seriousness of these applicants, right? And the seriousness of the government in evaluating these applicants is absolutely not even an iota of doubt about that, right? ISM has been formed. Evaluation is going to start soon. Practical pre-evaluation has already progressed very well. So there is absolutely no mixed signals if you are asking for that, right? This $10 billion package is the first tranche of our movement in the semiconductor foray. As and when we progress well, and hopefully in the coming 2 to 3 years, we would have progressed very well on this front. There is absolutely openness, because the roadmap that we have laid down is for 20 years. It's not 1 year, 5 year, 6 year kind of thing. It's a roadmap for 20 years. So after this first tranche is getting utilized, we definitely will go for more. So we have appetite for more, we have need for more, and the industry itself looks India as a market and as a geography where many more fabs would be needed. So it's a common understanding between us and the industry. The other aspects, the compound semiconductor, very good progress is there. I think we already have about 8 applications. On design led, we already have about 5 or 6, almost 20 applications, out of which 5 or 6 have really progressed so far. So the progress is very good on all the 3 big sectors. So one point which almost all the companies have, one major concern which companies have shared is, where is the supply chain ecosystem, which is the gases, compounds, all that stuff. Now that's something on which we have already started working. And we are learning from our experience of Mohali and Hyderabad, where 2 small labs are already functioning, and also the inputs which the companies have given us. So that as and when the companies finally decide to take that plunge and make the investment decisions, the ecosystem also gets ready in parallel. Whatever is needed out, so this is a $10 billion is a fungible thing between all the different 5-6 sectors, right? So for talent, whatever is needed is definitely going to be set aside. So almost 100 institutions are now tied up. Almost
talent, you're saying. There's an absolutely vibrant, there's a task force, there's a vibrant effort going on in terms of creating these 3 multiple levels of talent: research, manufacturing and design, and the whole shop floor and the ecosystem supervisory capabilities that we need. And AICT chairman is here. So there is an all of government approach towards talent. It's not a ministry alone. It is skill ministry, education ministry, and the METI ministry. We understand talent is an important part of the equation, and we are very confident that we'll address it.
We'll take now we'll have an announcement from Applied Materials, which is the leader in material engineering solutions and largest semiconductor and advanced display equipment manufacturer in the world. Dr. Prabhu Raja, a Senior Vice President, Semiconductor Products Group, Applied Materials, will join us live from the United States to make the announcement. Yeah, is there?
Thank you for the kind introduction. On behalf of Applied Materials, I would like to extend our congratulations to India on its mission for establishing a semiconductor manufacturing ecosystem. As a leading semiconductor and display equipment supplier in the world, Applied Materials brings both innovation and commercialization foundation to semiconductor manufacturing. We have been in India for 20 years and grown to 6,000 plus employees in 5 locations across the country. We have built an extensive set of science and engineering capabilities for innovation and product commercialization. We also have deep relationship with premier universities for fundamental research. Today, we are excited to launch the next phase of expansion in India. We are announcing 340 crores rupees investment to scale our infrastructure. For the next 5 years, we expect to spend over 1,500 crore rupees towards enhanced product development and validation center. That includes dedicated campus, additional talent, and development labs. Our investments will speed up innovation and commercialization out of India. We plan to grow local capabilities for customer support and services. Also build foundation for a supplier ecosystem out of India. Applied Materials stands ready as a trusted partner to enable government's vision for semiconductor manufacturing in India. With your partnership and strong support, we can build a great future together. Thank you all.
Thank you, Dr. Prabhu Raja. Now we announce the signing of a Memorandum of Understanding between All India Council for Technical Education and Semi Tech Services India Private Limited and India Semiconductor Mission and VLSI Society of India to define a partnership that will address the growing requirements of industry talent for semiconductors at all levels. I would request the dignitaries to kindly come over in the presence of both the ministers. This will be accomplished. Thank you very much. And now I would like to call upon Mr. Ajit Manocha, CEO and President SEMI, and Mr. Sanjay Agrawal, President LCNA, to make the announcement. I would request the other dignitaries to kindly get back to you. Yeah. Mr. Ajit Manocha, CEO and President SEMI, and Mr. Sanjay Agrawal, President LCNA.
Good afternoon, friends. I'm happy to announce that LCNA, which is dedicated to serving electronic manufacturing across verticals and supporting semiconductor manufacturing, was decided to have a collaboration with SEMI for promotion of semiconductor manufacturing in country. I'm very grateful to Mr. Ajit Manocha, who has visited our LCNA house and agreed to this participation and support us for the promotion of electronic manufacturing and semiconductor devices in our country, along with the members of LCNA. Mr. Manocha, please.
Thank you, Mr. Agrawal. I was with the LCNA on Monday and understanding what India needs and building upon what the message Mr. Rajiv Chandrasekhar gave this morning, can do and will do. So we heard everything this morning about the vision, mission. Now is the time for can do and will do. This partnership will actually lead to that can do and will do, because LCNA provides the local focus in the industry in India, and we as SEMI bring the global connectivity with the industry, academia, and the governments around the world. So together, I think we can win and cross every barrier in our lives. So I'm looking forward to this partnership to support the India Semiconductor Mission.
Thank you very much. Yeah. As the photographers are busy, we move on to the next one. MeitY announces the collaboration between Qualcomm and the Center for Development of Advanced Computing, CDAC, for cooperation and partnership in semiconductor, which will, of course, target semiconductor design in line with the objectives of DLI. I would now request Mr. Rajesh Bagadia, the Vice President, Qualcomm India, and Shri E. Magesh, DG CDAC, on the dais. Thank you very much. And now we have one release of the Semiconductor Manufacturing Supply Chain Report 2022 in the hands of the ministers. Now, yeah, kindly come over, sir. This report would lay the foundation and way forward for India to be part of the global semiconductors manufacturing supply chain. I'd request both the ministers to kindly release this. The first copy can be given to the Honorable Minister, Union Minister. Yes. This is the Semiconductor Manufacturing Supply Chain Report 2022.
So this is the work that we are doing. Many of the industries which express the concern, the homework which has gone in understanding what is the supply chain which is required, this is the output. Your question.
So with this, we come to the conclusion of the press conference. We would like to thank all our friends from the print, electronic, social media. So please have your lunch, and we'll reassemble in the hall at 2 p.m. So please enjoy your lunch. Namaskara, and all of you, please take care.
Center.